Hello, welcome to a new very exciting Creature tutorial. This tutorial is going to cover the new Deep AI Walk feature of Creature Pro for Windows. Now, before I continue, let me talk a bit about the rise of artificial intelligence or deep learning. You probably heard in the news that deep learning is capable of solving some really complex real-world problems. For example, deep learning is now able to beat chess masters or world-class Go players in their game, the game of Go, which is played on a 19 by 19 board. This is an ancient game, a game from ancient China, which is insanely complex, and people were saying that computers couldn't beat this game for a while, but they just did it this year. It was a really groundbreaking event, and this was due to the powers of deep learning. And deep learning has also been used to make self-driving cars. So cars that drive themselves based on learning real-world data, based on how humans actually drive. And of course, on your phone and maybe on the web when you do searching for human faces, deep learning is actually used to recognize human faces and tag those images. Now, the way deep learning works is it works in a very fascinating concept. It actually works a bit like intuitively like how humans actually learn. So you feed them the algorithm or your computer a couple of real world examples, hundreds of thousands of them, and the machine or the AI will actually learn from those examples and be able to do some really good predictions based on what it's learned. So it's actually learning like a human. In other words, Deep AI Walk is a new automated human walk cycle generation system that's based off deep learning. And you'll see in a moment how it actually works. It's extremely fascinating. Here's an example of it running. And what it does is I've actually trained Creature to learn how humans walk. So the first iteration of this is trained on biped human walk cycles. So the Creature now has learned how humans actually walk based on hundreds of thousands of examples, and you can actually use this system to generate new walk cycles, new variations of this walk cycle very easily by simply just making three very simple leg poses or limb poses and let the AI figure out the rest, which sounds pretty cool, right? So this is a really cutting edge feature that's available for Creature Pro for Windows, and we'll jump right in. Okay, so to demonstrate Deep AI Walk, I'm going to use this very simple human biped character, right? It's very simple. It's got two legs and two arms. Very simple rig, okay? And so let's go to animate mode. And the initial project has the character just having swing arms. I put in very simple rotate cycle motors. Let me show you. There's just a couple of very simple rotate cycle motors on the different bones, right? Just to simulate a very simple swing motion. And I also have band physics motors on the hair to make it wobble when it walks. But of course, it's not walking right now, it's completely stationary. So our goal of this exercise, this tutorial, is to use the new fancy Deep AI Walk feature to make the character walk and set it in motion. Okay, so what we do is very simple. Click on Animate, move your mouse over to Deep AI Walk, click on it, and that brings up, welcome to Deep AI Walk, all right? And the first thing you're going to do is you have to download a Deep Walk AI file. So click on Download AI File. So it will bring you to the new documentation webpage where it shows you exactly how to use this new functionality. You can go through it, or you can watch this video tutorial. And what you do is, first of all, there is a trained model I provided for you already that you can click on it. This is trained on a lot of humans walking, all right? So it should give you a whole variety of walking styles. Now in the future, I will also provide more trained models, probably like running and other kinds of motion. But for now, you can use it for walking, and it's quite powerful, as you can see. So go ahead and click on it and download the file. Now once you've downloaded the file, what you do is you set your file name, you point it to the file that we just downloaded, and then you close it. All right, and it should initialize your Deep AI Walk. Now let me maximize this window, and you take a look at it. So this is the Deep AI Walk interface, and if I move this panel away, okay. So we have three poses that you have to set. There's the starting pose over here, the middle pose, and the end pose, right? And depending on how you set these poses, the walk style is going to change, right? So let's, for example, if I change this, if I move this upwards, see how this actually tilts or rotates the leg at the end of the walk cycle. So essentially when you tweak these three poses, the AI is going to figure out automatically for you what's the optimal walk cycle and produce it for you. And you can see a preview over here. Okay, so but before we continue though, we have to link up the limbs of the character with Deep AI Walk so it knows how to transfer that motion from here onto your actual character. So let's start with that. Okay, so what we do is we select three joints over here for the first leg, and we connect it up like so, and then we select the other one. By the way, to select these three bones in reverse, you click Control N. Right, that walks up the chain. So select that again, and then finally we have to select a root bone for root motion. So select that one too. Okay, so we have it set up. So again, the requirements for Deep AI Walk are you need three bones for each leg, and you also need a overall root translational motion. Okay, so you need those three sets of things set up in order to use Deep AI Walk. So once you're done with that, let's see what happens. So we are just simply going to click Apply, and let's see what we get. All right, and immediately you can see the character's already walking. Isn't that pretty cool? And of course the physics takes over. You can see the hair wobbling and all that. It's really cool. That's part of the creature procedural animation system. Okay, but anyway, this might not be the walk you want, right? Because she's sort of like climbing up the stairs. So that's the whole power of Deep AI Walk. You can actually tweak the walk cycle. So let's do a bit of tweaking. So let's maybe say move the legs just a bit closer. You can see it change over here. And we can actually change the pose in the middle to make it sort of go down a bit, right? So it's more vertical. And then let's drag the end pose. Let's make it walk with a more like straighter leg at the end, so it sort of snaps in. Okay, and let's click Apply, and that's what we get. Okay, let's see what we get now. And look at that. Isn't that pretty cool? So we actually have a pretty natural walking motion just by tweaking three poses and letting the AI figure out the rest. Now, you might say, oh, it's probably bouncing a bit too much. Well, it's simple. You can just change the bounce. The bounce parameter can be altered. So let's set it to 0.05 and see what we get. And now the character bounces a lot less, and you get a nice walking motion. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay, and you can also change the walk speed. So if I set it to 1.5 and apply, she should walk a lot faster, right? So that's pretty cool. And so you can play around with these values, these parameters. They're all described on the documentation page. So take a look at that and play around with it. It should be kind of fun. You can also flip the direction of the walk by just checking flip, and it'll flip it in the opposite direction if your character is facing the other way. Okay, so that's basically really all it is to Deep AI Walk. It's actually really simple. It's a very powerful system because you're letting actually the AI figure out the best optimal walk cycle that you want, right? So I can actually go in here now and I can make a more ridiculous walk cycle. I can make the leg stretch out a bit more, and let's see if I say pull this guy back a bit more so it has a wider walk. Let's see what we get. Right, let's raise the leg a bit and apply and see what we get. So now you actually have a wider walk. So in other words, you can have different kinds of walking styles. You can make the person walk up the stairs. You can make it sort of have a crouching motion. You can do lots of stuff with this feature. You can actually approximate many kinds of different walk styles with Deep AI Walk very easily just by changing the three poses, the start, the middle, and the end pose. And just by tweaking those, you can get some very convincing walks super quickly, right? Okay, and what's cool about this, well, let me just move this back a bit because maybe I want the walk to be somewhat wider, a wider stance. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so this is again a different walk style from the one before. So just by tweaking those three poses, as I've demonstrated, you can get some really convincing walk cycles super quickly. So the last question you're probably wondering is how do I actually tweak it after I've transferred it? Well, that's the power of Deep AI Walk. It actually writes out all the motion or every single knot into your key animation knots spline view, right? So let me pull this panel away, and you noticed we actually have your angles and your positions of every single limb written out into the animation data splines and keys knots panel. And so you can actually examine the splines very easily, and you can basically tweak it to your heart's content, which is a very powerful feature, I think. You can actually go in and manipulate all the walking splines, if you will. So you can tweak it further to get it to the exact look that you want for Deep AI Walk. All right. So look, we just finished a walk cycle extremely quickly, and this is a very, very convincing walk cycle because the AI has been trained literally to learn how to walk on hundreds of thousands of people walking. Right. So right now the model is trained for humans walking, and of course, as I said, in the future I will probably add in more models for you guys, like people running or more animals or that sort of thing, so you can have a whole variety of different walk styles that you can use the AI to generate for you. And this will save you lots of time, and you can use the AI to generate the walk cycle for you first. It will write everything out into keyframes, and once you're done with that, you can tweak it to get even an even more stylized and customized walk cycle. But the key is it gets you there 80 to 90% of the way, which saves you most of the time, most of the grunt work. All right, so that basically concludes this tutorial. I hope you found it very fascinating. It's a very, very cutting edge, powerful feature which allows you to use the power of deep learning to generate convincing human biped walk cycles. So I hope you have fun with it, and happy animating.